Have you ever noticed how some people seem to hesitate just when they're on the brink of achieving something great? It's a paradox that confuses many: the fear of success. At first glance, fearing success might seem illogical. After all, success is supposed to be desirable, celebrated, and rewarding. Yet, for a surprising number of people, the prospect of achieving their goals triggers anxiety, hesitation, and even self-sabotage, sometimes more intensely than the fear of failing. Understanding why this happens requires a close look into human psychology, the intricate ways our minds protect us, the subtle beliefs we carry, and the patterns that shape our lives. Fear of success often begins quietly, seated in early experiences. It is rarely about success itself, it is about what success represents. For some, success is associated with heightened expectations, increased responsibility, and exposure. The child who was praised for every achievement, only to feel that any mistake would lead to disappointment, may grow into an adult who equates success with scrutiny. When they consider taking a step toward their goals, the mind begins to weigh not only the reward but the potential pressure and judgment that comes along with it. In these moments, fear can appear as hesitation, procrastination, or even subtle self-sabotage. This fear is frequently intertwined with identity. Success can challenge the way people perceive themselves. If someone has long identified as the struggler or the average performer, achieving something significant may feel incongruent with their self-image. It's as if stepping into success demands a psychological transformation they are not prepared for. The mind instinctively resists the change, clinging to familiar patterns, even if those patterns involve discomfort or limitation. In this way, fear of success can be a protective mechanism, a way to preserve a sense of continuity in life, even at the cost of opportunity. You might notice this behavior manifesting in very tangible ways. Consider someone who consistently underprepares for opportunities, or who procrastinates until the last minute, sabotaging their own success. They might turn down promotions, avoid recognition, or even diminish their achievements in conversations with others. These behaviors are not simply laziness or lack of ambition, they are the body and mind reacting to an internal threat that is difficult to articulate. The threat is not failure, it is the upheaval that success might bring to one's life, relationships, or identity. Underlying this fear is often a complex mix of emotions: anxiety, guilt, and shame. Anxiety emerges from the anticipation of expectations and change. Guilt may arise from feeling undeserving of success, a sentiment that can be deeply rooted in early family dynamics or social conditioning. Shame can surface when individuals internalize the belief that achieving their desires might alienate them from loved ones, or even make them selfish for striving for more. These emotions are subtle but powerful forces, quietly influencing daily decisions, shaping career choices, and even affecting personal relationships. The interpersonal dimension is particularly striking. Fear of success can create tension in relationships because the individual may unconsciously distance themselves from those who might celebrate or benefit from their achievements. Friends or family may be supportive, yet the person's anxiety can cause them to downplay accomplishments or avoid opportunities that might elevate their status. In professional settings, this can translate into consistently avoiding leadership roles, declining projects that might bring recognition, or overworking on minor tasks while neglecting high-impact opportunities. The psychological tension lies in wanting success but fearing its consequences, a cognitive and emotional tug-of-war that can leave a person feeling stuck, frustrated, or misunderstood. It is also worth noting the role of perfectionism. Often, those who fear success are not simply avoiding achievement, they are avoiding the idea of imperfect achievement. Success, once attained, carries visibility. Mistakes and vulnerabilities become more apparent to others. For someone with perfectionistic tendencies, the fear of being exposed, judged, or unable to maintain a high standard can overshadow the desire for success. The paradox is clear: the higher one's aspirations, the greater the internal pressure, and the more likely the individual may unconsciously sabotage the very outcomes they seek. Yet, this pattern is not immutable. Recognizing fear of success is the first step toward transformation. It requires honest introspection, understanding the triggers, and noticing the subtle ways this fear manifests in thoughts, choices, and behaviors. Journaling, for instance, can help map the moments when hesitation occurs, whether before a presentation, a major life decision, or an opportunity that could elevate one's career. Observing these moments without judgment allows the mind to process them rather than react unconsciously. Cognitive reframing is another powerful tool. Success does not need to be synonymous with exposure, judgment, or alienation. Reframing success as personal growth, learning, or contribution can reduce the emotional load associated with achievement. By redefining what success means on one's own terms, the perceived threat diminishes. This subtle shift can transform anticipation from anxiety into curiosity and motivation. Supportive social environments also play a crucial role. When surrounded by people who celebrate growth rather than judge outcomes, the fear of success loses some of its power. Mentors, therapists, or peers who model healthy engagement with achievement can provide reassurance and validation. The psychological insight here is simple but profound: fear thrives in isolation. When individuals allow themselves to share vulnerabilities and fears about success, they create a context where success feels safer, more attainable, and aligned with their authentic selves. It is important to remember that fear of success is not a flaw, it is a human response to complexity. Our minds are wired to anticipate consequences, to weigh risk, and to protect us from threats, even subtle or imagined ones. By recognizing that this fear is rooted in survival-oriented mechanisms, self-compassion becomes possible. Instead of criticizing oneself for hesitation or self-sabotage, one can approach these behaviors with curiosity and empathy, asking, "What is my mind trying to protect me from?" This shift from judgment to exploration creates the conditions for growth and healing. Over time, embracing fear rather than denying it can be transformative. When fear is acknowledged, understood, and integrated into decision-making, it becomes a guide rather than a barrier. It can illuminate values, clarify priorities, and reveal patterns that might otherwise remain hidden. People who learn to navigate fear of success often discover a deeper sense of agency. They achieve not because they are fearless, but because they have learned to act despite fear, with mindfulness and intentionality. The journey toward embracing success is deeply personal, yet universal in its challenges. It asks for patience, reflection, and self-awareness. It requires letting go of rigid self-images, perfectionistic standards, and fears of judgment. It involves reframing success as an opportunity to grow, to contribute, and to explore one's potential, rather than as a threat to identity or relationships. Each small step, acknowledging a fear, taking an action despite it, or celebrating a minor achievement, can build momentum, gradually rewriting the narrative from avoidance to engagement. In the end, the fear of success is not something to eliminate, but to understand. By exploring its roots, recognizing its manifestations, and responding with self-compassion, individuals can begin to reclaim their agency. They can move toward goals with clarity, embrace opportunities with confidence, and cultivate a sense of alignment between desire and action. Change is possible, and it often begins with a simple, yet profound act: noticing the fear, acknowledging it, and choosing to step forward anyway. Success, once feared, can become a source of empowerment, creativity, and fulfillment. It can coexist with humility, curiosity, and empathy. Most importantly, it can be pursued not as a measure of worth, but as an expression of the authentic self. By understanding the psychology behind fearing success, we gain insight into our own behaviors, uncover patterns that limit us, and open the door to growth, possibility, and self-compassion. In that understanding lies freedom, the freedom to achieve, to grow, and to live fully without being held back by the very success we desire.